Hi, and welcome to another SEO Hangout with Josh Bachynski, the most bachynskiest Bachynski of them all. Today, it's the end of the year, 2014. It's December the 30th, and I'm having a final 2014 SEO Hangout for you. I've already given all my predictions of what I think is going to rank in 2015, and you can watch that video at youtube.com/jbachins. In fact, it's about an hour-long SEO course, and it's pretty much my opinion on how everything's ranking now and how it's going to rank in 2015. But there have been a bunch of leaks from Google, and I wanted to cover at least some of them before the year was out. And so a lot of stuff has been going on, and so I want to talk about it. So I'll get right to it. So back on November 7th, I'm going to go through pretty fast, so I'm giving you a fair warning ahead of time. I might have to rewind and listen again, but it's all really good stuff. November 7th, John Mueller had a hangout. He wanted to remind us that quality involves more than just text. It, quote, includes everything. This could be the design, it could be the navigation. It, quote, gives the user a feeling, end quote. He basically has admitted there's a lot of user-based signals that have been used in Panda, and I've mentioned this a million times. Also, he mentioned it's important that you have, and I quote, someone who knows what they are talking about, end quote. When it comes to their quality algorithms, that's where they're headed. It invokes trust, and that they look at any page and decide whether it belongs in their index. They remove any blank pages or any thin content pages. They consider those essentially a soft 404, and they will, and I quote, crawl them less frequently, end quote. So again, quality, of course, no surprise there, but it's going to continue to be a big factor in 2015. Now, 10 days later, November 17th, John Mueller had another hangout to which I attended. And he wanted to remind us to make sure that the content is visible or they will discount it. So you can't have content in any hidden tab, you can't have any content behind any kind of firewall. He also mentioned this interesting thing, this is a very interesting tip, that they age named anchors when they are semantically related. A named anchor, for those of you who don't know, is in the HTML code, you can have href equals, that's an anchor tag. You can also have an anchor tag with a named anchor, with a name equals. And that name could be something like red shoes, blue shoes. And they can use that as almost like a structured markup to know what each section of the page is about. Like this section of the page is about red shoes, because it has a named anchor, red shoes. Of course, it doesn't help that much more than already having an H1 saying red shoes and an H1 saying blue shoes for the different sections on a page, but it's something to keep in mind. Also, I wouldn't just add it in there thinking it's going to help you. You know, people are using keywords places far too much already. They have it in the URL, they have it in the title, they have it in H1, they have it in every single title attribute, every single alt attribute. That's keyword stuffing, and so that's not going to help you. So I'm not saying for you just to stuff it in there and add more keywords on. That's not going to help you rank. But if you want to really clearly mark up the sections of your pages, that could be a way to do it if an H1 is not appropriate or something like that. Also in this hangout, he did mention that nofollow is not a strong signal in terms of search, but he did imply it is a slight signal. I think that they are using nofollows in their search algorithms. For those of you who didn't watch my 2015 video, I mentioned that. In fact, I think they're using mentions, just plain old topical mentions in text. And if it's a nofollow link or a do-follow link, it's just a slightly stronger signal, and or just goes into a different, like, okay, here's your link bucket, here's your nofollow link bucket, here's your mention bucket. And you have to have content in each of those buckets. Content bucket, social bucket, usage bucket, all those kinds of things. So I think they're using it, and in fact, they have a patent out to this effect that Bill Slawski recently talked about, that they're replacing PageRank, and they have a new kind of PageRank. It's really just kind of topical rank, or like mention rank, if you will. All the kind of topics on page A that mention sites that are about topic A. A page on topic A mentions a site on topic A, and that will pass juice, so to speak, in this new patent. And I think they're already using it. They usually only file a patent after it's being used. Often, quite often, they're already using it and seeing it's implemented before they bother filing a patent about it. So, of course, that's not to say that the only thing they file patents about. But I've seen a pretty strong correlation between, oh, we have this EMD algorithm, and then months later, oh, there's an EMD algorithm kind of patent comes out. I see that again and again and again, so I think that's how they do it. Penguin. The terrible, terrible Penguin. So here's the deal with Penguin. Just for you, for my loyal listeners, I have a secret leak about Penguin. I have a connection to someone on the Google Chrome team. It's kind of a friend of a friend of a friend thing. But I did get a leak about information coming out about Penguin. So this is what's been going on. For those of you who don't know, they released Penguin 3 on October 17th. They updated it on November 27th and December 5th, 4th, 5th, and the 7th. So on these particular dates, October 17th, November 27th, December 4th, 6th, and 7th, or 4th, 5th, and 7th, something like that. I can get the exact dates for you, but in a bunch of times in between the 4th and the 7th. So check your traffic, check your rankings. If you see a huge pitfall or fall or raise on any of those dates, that's Penguin related. Not to be confused with Panda, which was more like November 7th around there to the 14th. And then a month later, December 14th. Those are automatic Panda dates that are still running. I'm 90% sure of that. So the way Penguin was working now is, this is what the guy from the Chrome team leaked, is that they're releasing Penguin, and they're having a huge trouble, as we know, of differentiating between negative SEO and attempted black hat SEO to make you rank better versus worse. And so what they're doing is they're going to release Penguin, they're going to hit everything, and then what they're going to do is they're going to see what you do. They're going to see if you go and disavow, remove all your links from the disavow file after you've been released, and you're going to go build a bunch of links right away. That's a pretty clear signal to them that you've been trying to do black hat SEO and you think you got released and you're going to keep doing it. Whereas if you keep adding stuff to the disavow file, they might, after that point, believe that maybe you didn't intend to get that link juice and it is a negative SEO attack, and they're going to ignore those edge cases. They already ignored 90% of the suspect links anyway, I've been told, by numerous Google employees. So that's what the sandbox is, by the way. If you've been wondering, you've been just doing linking that they're already onto those tactics, those ways of putting links, the anchor text you're using, or the places you're putting links. Those are all a pretty strong spam signal pointing to a page, and they're ignoring it at 90% of those anyway. The other thing he mentioned that was very interesting is that it will even bubble up to a manual review. I repeat, they'll release Penguin, they'll see what you do, they'll see if you're using the disavow file to see if they'll check any other negative SEO kind of signals they can, the order of the links possibly. I know Matt Cutts told me they were working on that back in March. And finally, it will even bubble up to a manual review. And John Mueller has already told me this actually, so it's very interesting to get confirmation from independent sources that they're using manual reviewers to determine if it's been negative SEO, because quite frankly, it's almost impossible for them to tell with an algorithm whether it's negative SEO. If someone goes on to Fiverr and buys you 20,000 spam links, or you go on to Fiverr and buy 20,000 spam links, they have no way of telling whether it was the negative SEOer who bought them or you bought them and were just trying to do it. So they're ignoring 90% of it, and if they have any edge cases with Penguin or any edge cases on negative SEO period, it's being bubbled up to the manual review team. And I guarantee, John Mueller has told me, the manual review team will use a disavow file to discount any negative SEO attempts. So if they see a bunch of links sent to you from sources, let's say I have buyredapples.com and I get a bunch of Buy Red Apples links, but I haven't bought any of those for years and it just suddenly spikes up, that will probably trigger, either they'll ignore it entirely, or if they think, well, it's Buy Red Apples to Buy Red Apples, so this is exactly what Penguin looks for, they might hit that site and then see what I do. If I do nothing, they might decide to release it and just discount those links. Or that could bubble up to the manual team, and the manual team could look at it and go, yeah, I don't think this person bought those links. I'll just automatically no-follow them in my tool, and that can happen. So that could make your rankings go up and or down, but not as much as if you're hit by Penguin, it goes really down, or if you're released from Penguin, it goes really, really up, back to where it was. So that could account for a lot of the fluctuations there. That could account for a lot of the back and forth. Also, they could just be releasing it and then rolling it back because they don't like the results, and releasing it and rolling it back. But they did that a lot of times. They're not going to screw up that much, right? They're going to be like, they're going to do it maybe once or twice and be like, okay, done, moving on. By the way, that's exactly what they've done. They're not working on Penguin right now. John Mueller has just today said, December 30th, that they're giving it a break for a while. and he didn't have any extra information. So also he did mention that it is going to be running now on a monthly basis, and they're probably not going to announce it. By the way, I have another extra crazy leak that John Mueller just mentioned today. Boy, this is the end of the year extra crazy stuff for my regular viewers. Pay very close attention to the Webmaster Tools search queries section, because they are going to be releasing an algo reporting tool. Just like they have the manual penalty section, they're going to have an algo, they don't call it penalties, an algo demotion section or an algo reporting section. John Mueller couldn't say that out loud, but he did mention we had about a half an hour talk after the official Google Hangout, where, of course, as you can imagine, to the loyal viewers and the people that he knows, there was some discussion back and forth. Some of it I can mention, some of it I can't. This one thing I'm going to mention is that unless something happens, they're going to be releasing this very soon in Webmaster Tools. So this is a good thing because not only a good thing, it's you know, required. You know, it's kind of it should be something that the Webmaster community says, no, Google, this is not a great present you've given us. This is required. You've taken away our ability to diagnose whether we're hit by Panda now because you don't announce it anymore, and they are taking away the ability to diagnose whether you're hit by Penguin, because I think after this last round of Penguins, they're not going to be announcing it anymore either, because it's going to be running automatically, or they want to pretend it's automatic so they don't have to keep announcing it. They barely announced it this time. I covered that very strongly. They barely announced it this time. Only after I bugged them and Barry Schwartz bugged them and a bunch of other people bugged them quite a bit did they even bother to announce it. So there you go, 2 really big leaks. That's how Penguin is working. They're going to roll it out. They're going to see what you do, and they're going to add extra negative SEO algorithms on top to try and see how that works. I know the disavow file is going to be a part of that, and it is. I know also it's going to be possibly bubble up to the manual team. So by the way, if you're trying some kind of tricky 301 situation that, for the most part, as I can tell, really doesn't work, but some of the people swear by it, so fair enough. Most of my testing and most of my contacts, it didn't work for, 80% of the time. But if you're trying any other sneaky ways of dealing with Penguin, and there are some, and I know of some that work very well. If you want to contact me to fix some of the Penguin issues you've been dealing with, by all means email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. By the way, you can email me about any SEO questions or any SEO issues at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can watch more of my SEO videos at youtube.com/jbachins, JBACHYNS, and you can follow me on Twitter at joshbachynski. So if you're having any Penguin issues, there are sneaky ways of dealing with it, but you have to be very careful, because now sometimes the manual team is going to be alerted, and these issues are going to bubble up to the manual team. So yeah, I wouldn't use the disavow file. I would leave it alone. I still don't think there's enough evidence to suggest that it's helping you. And keep in mind, if you put those links in the disavow file, you're going to lose that link juice anyway. And the problem is that we don't know what links really are helping or hurting us. And so the tendency is to cut off too much flesh, so to speak, to get that tumor. And so in my opinion, the disavow file is really going to do nothing more than hurt you. There's not really a lot of evidence to suggest that it's going to help you. If you have no other choice, you can use the disavow file if you're getting tons of negative SEO, but really I think you should just ignore it and leave it alone. Google ignores 90% of those bad links anyway. They're very good at it, and if it does happen to hurt you, I have tricky other ways of getting out of Penguin without using the disavow file, so we don't have to cut off our nose to spite our face, so to speak, or we don't have to cut out that link juice to try and fix it and maybe get a little bit of a ranking back, where we can try to get all the rankings back and ignore the disavow file entirely. Again, there's not a lot of evidence to suggest that it helps alone anyway, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that it's not going to do that, because Matt Cutts specifically said numerous times, both to me in private and publicly, that we do not want to let black hats just use the disavow file, because then they're just going to spam away, disavow, get out of it, and keep going. They want you to go and delete links. Not only that, because it saves them money. They want you to go and delete links off of the web, because it costs them money to spider the web and to process links. It costs them like 0.0001 cent every link they spider and process, and then when you multiply that by the trillions and trillions and trillions of links out there, it's costing them millions and millions and millions of dollars. So that's some crazy leaks for you. That's what's going on with Penguin. Now, back to November 17th, I was talking about. By the way, the move to HTTPS should work now. There was a bug in it, but now it works just fine. So if you can move to HTTPS and it's not a high buying season for you, you might consider moving to HTTPS. It's not a trivial change, so you have to be careful. You can damage your rankings for a few days, even a few weeks, if you don't do it right. So contact me and I'll help you convert to HTTPS. Also, another thing about the disavow file, here's another interesting thing that John Mueller mentioned on this particular Hangout. It does not automatically no-follow those links. So this is good that I mentioned this because it's kind of a response to what I just said about the disavow file. Let's say, yeah, but John Mueller has said that it automatically no-follows links. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I speculated over a year ago that it'd be lovely if that's how it worked, but that's not how it ended up working, unfortunately, even though that would have been awesome. He said, and I quote, "In general, we kind of treat them the same as no-followed links." Or, and I quote, "like no-followed links." He did not say that it does no-follow the links. He says, we kind of treat them the same. Kind of treat them the same as no-followed links. So it does not automatically no-follow your links. Other SEOs out there have thought that and have even put big articles on Moz about that. That's false. It's not true. It's not the way it works. And it's misleading. And I think, quite frankly, it's time that somebody said these SEOs should stop doing that because it's giving users false hope that they can use the SEO, that they're wasting their time and money putting links in the disavow file, and they're wasting their hope on this tactic that the disavow file is going to do something for them, when I've shown again and again and again a naked disavow does absolutely nothing, a pure disavow does absolutely nothing. Again, with the caveat that it might help you with negative SEO if you bubble up into Penguin. I still don't think the evidence suggests, and I just have a leak from some guy in the Chrome team, so until evidence can suggest this is the case, I don't think it's really going to help you. Plus, you are cutting off that link juice anyway if you put in the disavow file. So I'm not really sure that it's worth doing at all. But my point here is that it does not no-follow those links automatically. That's not how it works, and I think it's just a tool of people who don't have better tactics, quite frankly. And or who want to just get a fast money grab, quite frankly, who just want to get a fast money grab from clients. You know, I wish it worked. You know, if I was an unscrupulous SEO, I could sell that all day long. I could sell a disavow process for $500. It would take me 5 minutes of work, literally 5 minutes for $500. I could do that. I could sell that all day long and give you some file and tell you to upload it that, oh yeah, it'll work in a few months, blah, 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 you know, and have absolutely no accountability or respectability whatsoever. So I know why SEOs do that, but I don't think it's very good. And by the way, you should watch out for Whiteboard Friday coming up very soon on this exact same topic, where I will stir the pot a little bit. I know, you're like, who, me? Who, Josh? Stir the pot? Well, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to stir the pot a bit on Moz, because that's where a lot of this stuff gets talked about. And so just watch out for that coming up. So, they do auto-canonicalization and auto-301s from irregular URLs with cruft on it to shorter URLs. And he did mention something very interesting. So anybody who's out there trying to do a canonical, for whatever reason you're trying to do a canonical, rail canonical, he did mention some very interesting information that changed from what they used to say. They used to say that they would only canonical from duplicate pages to duplicate pages. He said that's not the case anymore. That's not how they're doing canonicals anymore. So anybody who's doing a canonical, or anybody who I've recommended do a canonical for various duplicate reasons or various other reasons, that's not the way you want to do it anymore. And so I have to be very clear. It used to be you wanted canonical, just for example, your duplicate index page to another duplicate index page, or if you had a bunch of URL parameters or a bunch of different canonical, you would serve 200 on a bunch of different index pages like index.cfm or index.asp or index.php, and you want to canonical them all to the index. That works just fine as long as those are longer URLs. What they will do is they will always select the shorter URL. They will always select the shorter URL. So let's say you wanted to use a landing page for some reason, you want to canonical that for whatever reason. You would have to take index.html and canonical it to index 2014.html. You have to make it either index.2014.html, I make that a different page and canonical it, and Google will go, oh, okay, you want to change your index page for some reason, and you can't use the 301. And or you could make it, instead of index.html, you have to make it index.html to like 1.html or start.html, which is shorter. They will always select the shorter URL if they are the same, and they will select a longer URL if they are different, but you'd have to use the canonical for that. So that's a very interesting, tricky little thing that could help some people trying to do canonicals that it might not be working for. Again, I'm going through this all quickly to get through as much as possible. If you have any questions, email me. I'll explain what I meant. Okay. November 21st, John Mueller had another hangout. He did mention on that Auto 301 thing that they do have a ton of signals they can use, quote unquote, to either rank it or Auto 301 it, if, and I quote, the site has been up for a few weeks. So this is another interesting little point that ties into something that John Mueller mentioned today. Here's my final crazy leak for you at the end of the video. Google, let's just say that I have on pretty good authority that Google is using Chrome. They're aggregating user behavior in Chrome and using it as a ranking signal. This is one perfect instance where they might be doing that, where the site has been up for a few weeks. He did imply strongly they're doing A/B testing and aggregating usage signals. Now, some people have speculated this is done through the Safe Browse. I asked John Mueller about this, point blank. I said, are you guys using Safe Browse or not? In this in the private conversation that we had with him. And he said, no. I said, yes, you will see the packet data being transferred back and forth from Safe Browse, but the content of the packets, he said, and we'll have to take his word for it because I'm not really sure how we can open up the content of the packets other than using the API to do so, which he said, go ahead, use the API and see for yourself. They're only passing, they're only passing the hash data. The hash data is the AJAX data. That's part of the URL. It's not the entirety of the URL. So they wouldn't be able to tell if you clicked on a particular URL. They wouldn't. He said they wouldn't be able to tell if you'd be able to click on a particular URL. They wouldn't be able to tell anything like that at all. He did admit we might be aggregating that data in Chrome anyway, but we're not using it through the Safe Browse. So okay. So that was interesting. You'll have to take my word for it that he said that point blank in this private thing. But he has implied it in other ways, in other shapes and forms before. And so let's just say I have it on pretty good authority that they are aggregating the click data. That's how they tell where you're clicking. That's how they tell if you're clicking through to another page. That's how they tell what area of the pages are correct. That's where the internal bounce rate comes in for Panda and for the quality algorithms, where they tell what pages on your site are succeeding and what pages on your site are not succeeding. That's how they tell if they need to auto 301 something or rank something somewhere else. One of the ways they tell, if you're just clicking on if you go from SERP to page A to page B, and most people go from SERP to page A to page B, well, then they're just going to start ranking page B where page A ranks. And we've seen stuff like that before. So I think it's part of the usage factors, and I think I've thought this for the last year. I just didn't have any proof or confirmed information. I'm now taking it, in my opinion, that I do. So you can take it or leave it, but I think we have to pay, obviously, very close attention to where people are clicking and what they're doing and whether you're getting task completion, to use Google's nomenclature. Okay, and he did mention, again, regarding Panda and this Hangout November 21st, that they use everything that, I quote, we have collected since the last time up to that point. And I also asked him in today's Hangout if they are tracking user metrics from various users. And he did mention that it is important to track not just the organic traffic, which is what they used to say, and not just the keyword traffic, which is what they used to say, but tracking all the traffic. So make sure everybody on your site is satisfied. If they're direct traffic, if they're from a TV spot, if they're from social, they want to see that they're all satisfied. They also want to know, he told us also to make sure that you've got a lot of social shares. That's a good way to tell that people are liking your stuff. And whether or not They're searching for your brand in Google and those kinds of things. So again, they're getting information from many different sources. Don't just think it's just links and specificity anymore. It's not. It's much more complicated, and I think they're moving away from links entirely. In fact, I'm predicting in 2015, links will be a very, very minor signal. Much less important than many other signals as well. Okay, let me see. One last thing I want to leave you guys with. Two last things. So, by the way, click-through rate is a huge ranking signal. I was just recently doing some, again, I said this all in my video that I released a few weeks ago. You should check it out on my YouTube channel. It's my complete SEO course for 2015. I've got slides and examples and graphs and statistics and everything. Keep in mind that you want your click-through rate to be as high as possible. Your click-through rate has to be above 50% on your brand search. So if you have neutrogenaskincare.com, if people are searching Neutrogena skincare, that brand search has to be 50% or over. I have a pretty good set of evidence now to suggest that if it's under 50%, this is going to be a problem. That could even trigger a Panda check. Because they do have that patent out on if you have Y number of links, you should have X number of brand searches. So make sure that not only people are searching for your brand in Google, make sure you've selected a brand they can search. You'll notice that makes it much harder for you if you have a generic EMD. If you have a generic EMD, then you're going to get a lot of click bleed and a bunch of other results. If I have herbalpills.com and people are looking for herbal pills, they may not click me, they may click something else that looks like it's more enticing. So you have to make your website as enticing as possible, make sure the title and the meta description are as enticing as possible. And it's good to choose from the outset a kitschy brand that, instead of herbalpills.com, I have Josh's Pill Emporium. And they're like, oh, I'll go to Josh's Pill Emporium. That's kind of funny. It's Josh's Pill Emporium. And they look for Josh's Pill Emporium. I get most of the clicks on that brand search. That will keep, that's another good signal that Google has mentioned a number of times. And not only that, but you have to make sure you have a lot of long tail click-through. So it's not only the head terms, not only the brand term, not only the head terms have to have really good click-through rate, but you should have like 40 to 60 to 100% click-through rate on a lot of the long tail brand terms. Like the Neutrogena skincare, a fictitious example site that I have. If people are like free download free trial for Neutrogena skincare, like a long tail thing, you should be getting like 50% and plus, like 100% clicks through that, because that is a strong signal to Google telling you that, well, look at the more specific long tail stuff. Like they clearly want a free trial for this Neutrogena skincare. They clearly want a free trial, a 30-day trial, Neutrogena skincare, like those long tail kind of things. Again, you have pages and pages in analytics and Webmaster tools of 100% click through on those kinds of things, on those variations. That's what you want. That's what you need. So again, you have to have really enticing title and meta description for that to happen. It's really important to use the 5 power words: you, new, now, because, and free. You, new, now, because, and free, or any close synonym to those words, such as get, instead of new, it could be top or best, that kind of thing. You really want people to click on that as much as possible. I can't stress enough how important that is for SEO. I think it's a direct ranking signal right there. I think it's already more powerful than links, quite frankly, period. So it's very important to make sure you have click-through rate on the brand search, plus 50%. Choose a good brand to begin with. It'll make it easier for you. I almost think EMDs are a detriment now at this point. Unless you're working that into the brand and they're looking for like the specific brand of a type of a herbal pill, for example, like Joshua X947. That'll be my fictitious herbal pill. So I'll have joshuax497.com, and if they're looking for that, they'll see that, then they'll click it. That is a benefit, but I don't think it's a benefit for having the keyword in the URL anymore. The keyword in the title seems to be a much bigger benefit. Okay, and last but not least, I'll have a bit of a rant for you. It's my final rant for this year, I swear. This is also my last video for this year. Guys, please learn how to use your CMS. Or learn how web things work outside of the CMS. Many times I have customers come to me and they have no idea how the web works. They have no idea how HTML works. They have no idea how JavaScript works. They have no idea how web transfer protocols work. They have no idea how any of that stuff works. And hey, you know, you don't have to be an expert in all those different fields, but you have to have, if you want to make money online, you have to have an idea of how those things work. Why did you ever expect you can make money online without knowing how those things work? I know it used to be easy to rank in Google, and I know all you had to really know was SE Nuke, or all you really had to know was how to order links on Fiverr, and then have some half of an idea how to throw up some crappy CMS and have some crappy website there. It doesn't work that way anymore. I'm sorry, but this Google is making us do this. The barrier to entry for those things has just gotten higher. Google expects you to know all that stuff. And so I see all kinds of things that are wrong in the content management system, and I try to explain how they need to fix it, and they don't understand because they don't understand web technologies. And then they say, well, then they get angry at me because they think I'm telling them lies or something, or they don't understand what I'm saying, and they just want me to say, just tweak your links and you'll be fine. I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of guy who gives platitudes or gives placebo solutions. I give you real solutions that are actually going to help you. And quite often, even worse, is your content management system is doing things wrong. WordPress is still doing things wrong. The Yoast plugin, the SEO all-in-one plugin are doing things wrong for your SEO. They're stuffing keywords in there that are probably hurting you. Definitely not helping you and probably hurting you. John Mueller has said specifically you do not want to stuff keywords in the title and the alt attributes. That's a serious problem for Panda. So, and they're still doing it. Either the WordPress is doing it, or those plugins are doing it, or the templates you're downloading are doing it, and you haven't gone through and edited your template, and it's stuffing the keyword in there like 20 times. Especially if you have an exact match domain URL, and so it's even worse. You know, I looked at one just today. Let's call it Neutrogena Skincare. That's not what it was, but let's just call it that. .com, and I put, my title of my website is Neutrogena Skincare. I typed that into WordPress, not knowing what that will do at all. And so all it did was stuff it in the title attribute on every page like 20 times. That is not helping you at all. I guarantee it is hurting. And I'm telling you, 50% of my job, and I do nothing but penalty recovery, and well, I do more than just penalty recovery, but I do a lot. Most of my job, 90% of my consulting business, which I do very well, and I've helped hundreds and hundreds of sites rank page one, is fixing demotions, algorithm demotions and penalties, manual penalties, and just basic ranking issues. 50% of that is fixing up content management problems, quite frankly. I'm not kidding. 50% of my job is correcting mistakes that your web designer or your content management system is making. Because web design is a huge ranking factor these days too. It is a direct ranking factor. So this is my final rant for you, my final little bit. Please invest in some knowledge of web technology. Even a basic understanding is going to help you go a long way in this field. Quite frankly, it was a little bit arrogant, if you don't mind me saying, for you to think you could survive in this field without knowing a little bit of web technology. It's kind of your bread and butter. Or at least know someone you have on your staff who knows these things, and make sure they have the time and the wherewithal to go in and make these audits and make these changes. You don't have to hire a highfalutin SEO consultant like me to go in and do it for you, or hire me and I'll go in and do it for you. Or at least I'll tell you what needs to be done. But then please don't email me back and say, this is not what I was expecting. I was expecting you to tell me that links were important. Well, sorry, they're not really anymore, And if you don't like what I have to say for SEO, well, then don't hire me. Quite frankly, I have a waiting list. I have a waiting list of people 3 weeks long who are going to want to hire me and want to hear what I have to say. It makes absolutely no sense for you to hire me to do an SEO audit and then ignore everything I have to say. Why did you do that? I mean, if you know everything about SEO already, then you didn't need to hire me in the first place. And clearly you don't. You know everything about SEO already, which is why you hired me. So then why would you go and ignore what I have to say just because you don't like what I have to say? That's like going to the doctor and saying, I have this lump on my arm. It doesn't feel very good. What should I do? And the doctor says, I'm sorry, I did a biopsy and it's cancer. We have to remove it. And you're going, no, I don't like that answer. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to duck my head in the sand. I'm going to ignore that answer and I'll be fine. That's not a very good idea. And that's not a good spend of your money. And every single business consultant, such as myself, wants you to make more money. That's why you're hiring me, so you can make more money. If you don't end up making more money, then I'm not doing my job correctly. within a reasonable time frame, 6 months, whatever it is, to fix all the problems and get your ranking better. And that's what I'm here. My guarantee, my proof is that I'm going to make you more money. That's what I'm going to do within 3 to 6 months if you are able, after you fix my suggestions. So with that, close rant. So with that in mind, I do wish you all the best for the new year. If you have any questions at all, you can always email joshbachynski@gmail.com. I'm here to make you more money. I'm here to help you with your SEO. Please, if you're the kind of do-it-yourselfer, you want more free SEO help, by all means email me with short questions. I'd be happy to help you out. As long as the questions are short, I'd be happy to help you. And you can also watch more videos like this, free SEO courses, free SEO information from what I hope is a guy who knows what he's talking about. At least I spend all my time reading SEO and talking with Google employees and getting secret information or public information and ranking sites. I rank hundreds of pages, page one, on a regular basis. So if you want more information that I give out freely on that, you can go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/jbachynski. With that said, 2015 is going to be a very interesting year. You should watch out for more stuff I've got coming out. I've been to New York. I've been doing some very interesting things, so watch out. There'll be some interesting stuff coming out for 2015. And so I just want to leave you with that. So good luck in the SERPs, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.